without further ado, Matt, go for it.
Thank you, Judd. Let me share my screen here. So cool. So thanks, Judd. Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm Matt Gocher. I'm the one of the other co-founders of CheckCherry, and yeah, we'll just kind of hop right into it. So, so this is kind of aimed at somebody just getting started, and I think I've gone ahead and created just a blank account here. So, so once you sign up for CheckCherry, you end up on this dashboard, and I think sometimes it's hard to know, what to do next, where to start, that type of thing. So, so just a kind of overview of the dashboard first. When you first sign up, we obviously don't have any data, so we just kind of fill in some sample stuff so you have an idea. But what we do have is this getting started section over here, where we have kind of a checklist of what we consider, required items, recommended things, and some optional things. And I think by kind of following through these, going through these items, you can get a lot of the way there. And so to kind of start things off, probably the packages are always a good place to start. But I also like to, I kind of like to make it feel like my own account, when I first set something up. So, so why don't we jump up here to adding a logo and give it a little bit more style. So
yeah, I agree. I think it's an easy win too. It's like you have your logo, you match your colors.
Right. Yeah. It starts to feel a little bit, a little bit more like your brand. So, so over on the right here, we've got the logo area and then the color area. Also on this page, basically all of this stuff should be filled in already. We just take this from the sign up process, but it's worth reviewing just to make sure that your address and phone number and things like that are correct. You don't want people emailing you with the wrong address or calling you with the wrong number. So, so I've got my logo over here. So let me find that and bring it over. Let's see here. And let's go ahead and save and see what this looks like. So I've called this account Red Balloon Entertainment. So we've got kind of a red balloon logo that should show up here, and perfect. So then it kind of, we'll go with kind of a red color scheme, but obviously pick something that matches your colors and your branding. And so let's set that to more of a red and see what that looks like. So cool. Maybe a little too bright. Let me tone that down a little bit.
And you can also use a color picker to get the exact color of your logo. And if you're not sure, just chat with us from within your account and we can pull it in easily.
If I want to copy that logo exactly, I can do this.
Yeah. So like I say, if you don't have access to a color picker, just chat with us and say, hey, can you match my color on my logo? We'd be happy to do it for you. But if you Google color pickers, you'll find a lot of options out there.
Yeah, and so now when we go back to our dashboard, it matches our branding a little bit. So let's and you'll notice that the add logo checkbox is now filled in, and you'll find that for most of the things, once you've gone to the package page, once I make some changes, then that's going to show as checked in. And really, it's up to you, when you're done, how much customization you want to do. You can always keep things simple and then build it out from there. But yeah, so you notice we already have a few packages set up here. So I've got this, a few layers of things, and then I've got a few packages within here. So I've got my bronze, my silver, and my gold. And so there are a few ways you can go from here. One thing you can do is just kind of go in here and start editing directly. So if, maybe I haven't defined my packages, maybe this gives me a good starting point for some ideas. And so when I've got a nice looking image here, I can rename the name. So this is going to show up just kind of as a description of the package. If I have like open booths or, different things like that, I can use about anything. The subheader will show up during the booking process. So we'll leave that blank for now. And probably the most important area is the pricing section. So there are a couple ways you can do your pricing. You can just give it a flat rate. If you charge $500 for your bronze package, you can just enter that, and then anybody is going to get to that page and be able to choose your bronze, and then they'll pay $500 for it. But a lot of times we see that people have a starting rate, and then they want to be able to add or remove hours. So let's go with that option. And so kind of how this works is the starting rate is the first number people are going to see on the checkout process. And then if they add or remove hours, we're going to add or remove based on this hourly rate we set here. So in this case, I'm saying that it includes 4 hours. And so it allows the customer to go less than 4 hours. So maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to make that 4. And so that just makes sure that they're able to select kind of, they can't go less than 4 hours, and they can't pay less than $400. And maybe I want to bump this up a little bit. I don't really care how long they go. Go all the way up to 10 there. And then you can also break these into smaller increments. If you want to allow people to book half an hour at $75 an hour, you can do that. And then another important area is your deposit. So with the deposit, you can either do a flat rate, of say 30%. You can do a $200. We'll clear that out. You could do a flat rate $200 thing. But I think deposits are nice because then that's going to take into account things like tax and travel and any add-ons you have. You can also turn the deposit off if you don't collect that, but I think most people tend to.
Matt, if I could just interject real quick about deposits. So one thing I've seen people do is that, if they're aggressive about getting commitments, they'll have a lower deposit amount, maybe $50 or $100. And that works great for getting commitments. However, one thing that's great about a higher deposit amount is your customer is less likely to, go with another provider after they've selected you, right? Because they've already put, let's say, 50% down or something of that nature. So it really depends kind of how you like to run the business. As entrepreneurs, we all have different personalities, so to speak. Me personally, I would tend to lean towards a lower deposit amount and more commitments, and making it easy to hop into business. That being said, I could certainly understand why somebody would prefer to have a higher deposit amount, but just want to chime in with that.
Yeah, great feedback. So, and then of course your description. This is where people are going to really be able to compare different packages. So let's go ahead and save, and let's take a look at what the customer is going to see now. So let's go over here. And so this is pretty close to to what the customer is going to see. So when the customer clicks that book now button on your website, they're going to come over to your booking page or your checkout page, where they're going to see all the different packages that you offer. They're going to be able to kind of compare them. So in this case, I can see, this has these 3 items. This includes the free setup and teardown and free travel, along with personalized graphics. And so as a customer, I can kind of weigh like, do I want to go with the bronze? Do I want to go with the silver? This one includes the scrapbook. Let me do that one. And so it's really important, to kind of to go over here to this preview page, to that multi-step booking, and take a look at what your customer is actually seeing, so that you can better, make sure that it's compelling, and that they'll understand what the differences are and why they would want to choose a higher package.
Yeah. And I think with the packages, it's really like, it's never going to be done, quote unquote. You should always be learning and adjusting. And CheckCherry makes it really easy for you to adjust your packages and pricing, after you've learned information. But really, one thing I would recommend somebody consider is when they have their packages and you're looking at a page like this, you really want to help the person who's evaluating your service pick the best package for them. And that doesn't necessarily always mean the highest price package, right? But to help me understand why I want to go, in the middle or lower or higher, that type of stuff. And also you can use some clever things like price anchoring to kind of nudge people towards a middle package that has the most value.
Absolutely. And a few other things you want to keep in mind is, short text is better. If you have a paragraph for your title, it just gets a little bit hard to read. It's a little bit unwieldy. Have nice images. If you've got images of your booth, that's awesome. That helps sell. If you have nice graphics that it just looks a lot more professional. And make sure that you, like I said, I think it's really important. A lot of times I just see a giant list of things. And so make sure that you bold the items that are different, or just make them stand out so that people can tell what they're getting with different packages. Let's go ahead and go through the full booking process just so we can preview what that looks like. So here's a couple ways I can do this. When I go through it this way, I'm logged in as an admin, and I see mostly the same as the customer, but there are a few things I don't see. In particular, I don't see the email address here. And the reason for that is that we're going to have, when the admin creates the booking, we're going to have you assign the customer information at the very end. So, so to really preview what it's going to look like as a customer, let's go ahead and sign out first. So
now one could also open up another browser. So if you're using Chrome, you could open up Safari or Firefox or Edge, or there, and most browsers also have a incognito window feature or a private window feature. And basically you just want to make sure that you're not signed in while you're going through the booking process, because this is how most customers who don't have an account with you are going to experience the self-service booking.
Exactly. And I'm not sure if it shows up in the webinar or not, but the
Nope,
Chrome has a...
I see I see new incognito window there.
So if you go there, then it's going to open up a window with you not logged in, which is super helpful. So let's go ahead and go through the booking process now. So I'm going to let's choose a silver package. And you'll notice now I see this email address filled. So just put in some, some filler data here. I'm going to click continue. And because when I was setting up the package, because I set an hourly rate, now we can automatically add or remove hours and have that price show up dynamically. So if they choose less hours, if they choose more hours, if they choose I think on the silver one we have a 30-minute increment there. So so it'll automatically calculate things, and then they can adjust their start time, pick a date farther in the future, things like that. We'll keep everything up to date as they do that.
And just if I want to kind of just interject again,
Yep,
one thing is
absolutely.
CheckCherry has a number of availability controls that we'll cover later, which help you prevent bookings, everything from, within a certain time period to, certain days of the week, if packages are unavailable, all that stuff. So there are mechanisms in place where you can prevent bookings so that you don't overcommit.
Exactly. And so as we're going through, we're collecting some different information, the venue or the event location. And at this point, we don't have a lot of information in our account. So the checkout process is pretty quick. We haven't created any add-ons yet, any backdrops, things like that. So, we're already at the end of the checkout. And I also haven't set up any credit card processors, and we'll take a look at how to do that. So the only options I have right now are pay with check and pay with cash. And obviously on the CheckCherry side of things, we can't accept the cash for you, but you'll be able to have some instructions here for how people can pay you with those methods. But in general, we would recommend that you set up a credit card processor. So we'll cover that in a little bit. So let's log back in as an admin. And let's see here. I save this. Okay, cool. So, so I've logged back in and I'm back on the dashboard now. So let's go back to our packages, and we can click here, or you'll find a lot of the stuff under the manage dropdown. So manage packages, you'll be able to find your existing bookings. Pretty much, most of the stuff you're going to look for on a day-to-day basis is going to be there. So let's go back to our packages, and we've set up we've already got this bronze, silver, and gold, but let's say we want a different set of packages. Maybe we want to call this something like a wedding package group is kind of the terminology we tend to use here. And you'll notice that because I have different levels, at the top level, you might have something like a photo booth service. If you're a multi-op, you might have a DJ service, things like that. You can also organize things by, some people have different cities, so they'll have a Los Angeles service, a a Denver service, things like that. It's kind of up to you how you organize things, but we've got a few different levels that you can do that. And so as a shortcut to creating a bunch of things manually, I'm going to hit this duplicate button here and just copy all the packages that I already have. And so because we have a bunch of images and things like that, this takes a minute or so. And so we'll wait for that to copy, and then that should take us back to the packages page in a second here. Cool. And so now I've got a copy of my wedding packages. And so we're going to click that, and let's call this corporate. And so now under my corporate packages, I might want to have completely different, different names, different, I might call this my corporate bargain, or some things like that. And so you can have totally different pricing and package, what's included in each package with that. So we'll save that. Now when I go to the multi-step booking, the customer is going to see two different levels now. So they've got this wedding and this corporate. So they can choose one of those, and they'll see, hey, I've got, these are my packages. If they choose corporate, they'll see these ones. And the great thing about that is that by segmenting things like that, the wedding person is not going to be comparing, the corporate person is not comparing their pricing to a private party or things like that. So having things nested like that is really helpful.
All that being said, let me just, we've certainly seen people start, if they're new to the business, they'll start with very flat packages. There's nothing wrong with that, and kind of grow into it over time. But absolutely.
And I think, absolutely. And I think another point worth making is, like, it's totally fine to have, one package when you're getting started. You can just have a single package called photo booth, and that's totally sufficient. You can set hourly rates on it. That is perfectly fine as a starting point. So now that I've got my packages, let's assume that my packages, that I'm happy with those. Let's go over to the add-on section here. So under the manage section, drop down, we can get there via manage add-ons. But on the dashboard, we'll also see a link to it. So this is just kind of the next item on our to-do list. So let's go here, and there's a couple of sample ones set up here. So a flash drive of maybe photos that you'd give them after the event. You could have something like that. By default, we don't enable the add-ons for any of your packages. So if you're ready to enable those, you can click over on the edit on the right-hand side, and then you can choose which packages you want that to show up for. So a common thing that happens is maybe on your high-end packages, you'll include something like a USB drive, and so you don't want to show that for people as an additional upsell. And so, kind of similar to the packages, you can enter your name, your description, your price, your quantity. I think typically you're probably going to just want to have a flat rate for your add-ons, but you can do variable, which is if you based it on the hourly price. So that would be something like an extra photo booth attendant, where the longer that you're there, the more you're going to have to pay them. So, and let's go ahead and save that. And now when the customer goes through the booking process, they're going to see this flash drive. And so let's go take a look at that again. And let's push this off into the future a little bit. And let's re-enter that. Now I have an add-on page showing all the applicable add-ons. So as I add more things here, those will start to show up. Another thing you can do on the add-ons is, in addition to controlling which packages they show up for, you can also hit this little star, which will basically just move it to the top for that package. So if you've got something that you want to kind of push, kind of recommend, that's a nice way to move it up in the list. And so we'll just feature that for the photo booth bronze and silver. And Another common thing with photo booths is something like the backdrops. So similar to the add-ons, under the Manage dropdown, you'll also find a backdrop section. So let's go ahead and take a look there. So, so we've got a couple of backdrops pre-populated here. And similarly, you can go in here, you can give it a better name if you want. You can control what packages you want to apply that to. If you've got a set of DJ packages, then obviously you don't want to be showing photo booth backdrops to them. And then if it's a premium backdrop, you can add a price on there. Or if it's included with the event, you can leave that at 0. But let's assume this is a premium one. And again, imagery helps a lot. So if you've got a photo of your backdrop, you can include that over on the right here. And so let's take a look at our booking again. And now I've got this red backdrop. And so if I had uploaded some photos, if I had a nice description, then the customer would be able to click that and see a little bit more information about the backdrop. But let's choose that. And it's going to automatically add a $100 to the cost. And so we'll continue. Let's go ahead and add this flash drive. And, let's take that back out. So we'll take that back out again, and we'll continue here. And so now on the confirmation page, I show my backdrop. I took the add-on out, so I don't show that. And I have a total of services and the event total. So let's go back to our dashboard again and see what's next. So we've got our add-ons. Let's take a look at our terms of service. So this is where you can include basically what the customer is going to agree to. So we've got some sample ones. Frankly, they're not particularly good. You definitely want to go through and have something appropriate to your business, to your state, whatever you want to include there. And we'll take out that top section saying it's saying that, and we'll cut. You can go through and make some changes. Include basically whatever you want to include here. And how this works is that the customer is going to see these at the end when they're signing up, and so you want to make sure that this is the contract that the customer is agreeing to. Oops, let's go ahead and save that. And we already added our logo. Let's check this credit card section here. So under credit cards, you see we currently have the cash in check option enabled. But probably what you want to do is you probably want to connect either a Stripe or a Square account to accept credit cards. So that's real easy. Just takes a few minutes to set up a Stripe or Square account. Either is fine. If you already have one of them, perfect. If not, either one works. You can also set up a PayPal account. It's a little bit more complicated. If you do that, we have a video that walks you through where to get some settings. PayPal has some settings that you can plug in there. And then once you've done that, then you're going to be able to accept credit cards during the checkout process, and then once the customer is signed up. And so kind of the next step is you want to actually complete a test reservation as a customer. So let's sign out, and let's go through the full sign-in checkout process again.
Again, I just want to mention that you can use the private window or open up another tab. I think that's just signing out because he's on a screen share. It's just easier,
right? Yeah, I don't have an easy way.
But if he were setting this up himself, he would probably have a private window open, and that way you can kind of refresh while you're going through the multi-step booking process and adjust things.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's helpful to be able to refresh and see your changes in real time. So, and so you notice the terms that I entered here are showing up now. So that's great. And the customer, because I didn't actually enable those credit card options, I still have the check and cash option here. So, so the customer is going to enter their signature here. They're going to reserve their event. And at this point, they're going to be prompted to enter their password. So I'm going to enter a password there, and we have an optional step to where they can upload a picture to help you kind of get to know them, but they can skip that. And they're going to see any upcoming events they have. So obviously for this user, they've just got the single event. But if it's an existing, say, a corporate client that books you often, then they'll be able to manage all of their events from here. And so we'll click that, and again, the customer is going to have all of this information that that comes with their event. So they can come in anytime they can make a payment. They would show the credit card processing screen there. Depending on your settings, they can choose new add-ons after the fact. And this is really a great way to allow people to kind of, customize their event after the fact. So we highly recommend, leaving those enabled. And so when somebody does that, the price is automatically going to be adjusted. And so they can, so they'll be prompted to pay the adjusted price. Similarly with the backdrop, they can change that subject to your settings. If they want to add additional time, or you can allow them to choose a new package as well.
And what I'd say is that, what we found is that consumers like self-service features. They like the power to be able to add and remove things. And so by offering that, you can make customers happier and help them get just what they need and just empower them. And they like that.
Perfect. And they can also come and they'll be able to download your invoice. So again, for like corporate schools, things like that, they definitely need the invoices. We'll also, when they sign up, when they go through the checkout, we'll kick out an email that contains all of that information too. So they'll have an email copy of the invoice. And depending on your settings, you may have additional tabs here. So we've got some design features, we've got some form features, things like that, where when you're ready, you can enable them, and then they'll see more different options here. So let's sign back in as an admin. And I've completed my test reservation. So now I'm going to start to see some real data. So I've got a real upcoming booking now. And so on the admin side, I have kind of a similar page, but with more options. So over here on the admin, I can, I can change different due dates and invoice dates and things like that. I can send messages from here. So a lot of the event functionality is going to be under these two drop downs. I can also make changes, if the client needs to have their name changed, if I want to log in and see what they see, I can do that. Especially in the beginning, that's really helpful for getting an idea of what other people are seeing. I can assign staff. So once I've created some users, I can just click this and I'll be able to choose my staff from there. So in this case, I'm the only user right now, so I can assign myself to it. And the thing about that is the customer will see my name, my contact information if I have it on there, my photo if I have it on there. I can see add-ons, I can make changes. I can add additional packages from here too as the admin. And obviously change anything else that needs changed. We also have some other functionality such as like forms. So I'm not sure if we'll get into that today, but we've got some forms functionality, some design functionality, and we've got some great videos for how you can use those features. But what I want to show is the messages tab. So as an admin, I can see all of the messages that have been sent on behalf of this user. And so I can see their new booking alert was sent, their confirmation, those were all sent out. And I can see if they were opened, if they were delivered, what the status is. I can also switch to the unthreaded to see a little bit more detail here. So, so I can see what was sent out. And so from here, let's jump over to, let's see here. Let's take a look at a couple other areas. In addition to creating a test booking, I think it's worth kind of understanding just sort of the life cycle, how we see bookings going in CheckCherry. So So under manage, we have this lead section first. So we think of a lead as somebody that is, they've come in, you have their information. Maybe they started to go through the booking process. So this information that you see here is from my booking that I didn't complete earlier. And so anybody that goes through, you're going to be able to see all that information here. This can also be things like contact forms, or you can even add stuff manually. And once you have a booking, you can take that and convert it to a proposal or an event. We think of proposals as kind of the next step after a lead. So once somebody goes, once they've told you, yes, I'm interested, send me something over. Once you're trying to collect that signature or collect the deposit, then you probably want them to be in that proposal status. And with proposals, we've got two different statuses here, date open or date reserved. And basically that controls whether you want that to block off your calendar or not. So, do you want to keep somebody else from booking on that date? We haven't set up any availability settings yet, so it wouldn't matter too much yet. But if you do have like a 1 booking per day limit or something like that, then that really comes into play. We'll convert that to a proposal. And now I have kind of a similar page that I saw before. So it's the same event overview page, and I can either send this or I can preview it. Let's hit preview first to kind of get an idea of what the customer is going to be seeing. And so the preview page, basically what we're going to do is we're going to pull in all of your imagery that you've already used. So we've got some filler images here, but you can change these, of course. You can change it directly on the proposal, or you can change it site-wide. We'll have when the proposal is scheduled, where it's located at, some package details, and again, we'll pull in any imagery you have there. Your add-ons, so you can allow customers to choose add-ons and backdrops directly from the proposal. So that's a great way to get them to choose that backdrop, or get them, show them some of the things you offer without necessarily, forcing them into it. And we'll have a pricing breakdown so you can see what the price is, any add-ons, things like that, and then they can click accept to actually accept it. And so again, they're going to be prompted to re-enter their name or confirm their name, their details, and their signature. So once they've done that, they've signed, they've accepted, then it's going to become a confirmed event. And so let's go back over to our bookings here. And so this other one that we created earlier, that's considered a confirmed event. We've also got the proposal that we just created. So once this proposal has been accepted, then that will go green and it will become a confirmed event. And then of course, any, you can see any canceled or postponed events that you have in there too. And so typically you're going to want to manage your events either through, if you just want to see your bookings or proposals in kind of a list view, you can do that. This will show your proposals. You can also see more of a calendar view. So the calendar is nice for getting a better idea of, when stuff is scheduled. And so we can go jump around, forward, back in time, and click this to go to the event. And it's also worth mentioning, if you're looking to subscribe to the calendar on your iPhone, you're going to be able to click that link in the bottom right, and we'll give you a URL that you can use to do that. If you have any problems, how to use that, just chat with us and we can help you. And so the chat is real simple. I'll mention that while we're on the subject. So, if you hit this chat in the bottom right, you'll be able to create a new conversation. You can send a message to us, and we're typically here to help. So.
And even if it says we're not around, I know we do have hours set for that, but just hop right into it and treat that like an email. It goes to a queue, and the team is monitoring that all the time.
And so a few other things. So at this point, I think we would be pretty much set to start accepting bookings. So people would be able to choose their packages. They would be able to choose their add-ons. Choose their backdrops if we've set those up. And I think it's important to just kind of keep in mind, start small and build from there. Set up a few packages and go from there. A few optional things.
Let me just say something, which is, You don't have to offer self-service bookings with CheckCherry. Certainly, we have contact forms, which we'll touch on probably a little later. You could set up a contact form. This is your traditional contact me, and then kick out proposals to people. That being said, we're really known for our self-service booking. We highly encourage people test it out and try it. It's a great way to start doing business with your company and allows somebody, even if they don't finish the booking process, you'll still get that lead data. You can convert them to a proposal with one click, call them up, whatever it may be, and close them. But it's not required to do self-service bookings.
Yeah, that's a great point, Judd. So, and then a few other optional things that you might be looking for. So, depending on your state, if you need to require sales tax, you can do that real easy. We can, different states have different rules, but, in the simplest case, you can say, hey, in the state of California, maybe we have if we had a flat 8% rate, you could do that. But I think a lot of places are getting more complicated with it, where different counties and cities and states will have different rates. So the other thing you can do is you can click this use tax jar to determine the sales rate automatically. And if you have that enabled, then what we'll do, I'm going to uncheck that too. And how that works is once you click save, now when somebody goes through the booking process, we'll look at the address and we'll automatically figure out what that tax rate is. And you can try it out. You can enter an address that and see how it calculates out. So it looks like this one gets looked up at 8.75%. Similarly, travel fees. If you charge any type of travel fees to a location, you can set those up. So let's create one of those, and we'll just keep it simple. We'll say that we have a single travel zone. If you want to get multiple zones going or things like that, you can do that, but you can just have a single one as well. And let's say that we charge a distance-based fee of, 30 cents a mile or something. And you can also include some free miles here. So if you don't want to start calculating that until, say 50 miles, give them the first 50 miles free, you can do that as well. And then you can configure whether you want to make that mileage one way or round trip. So, if I drive 20 miles there and then 20 miles back, do I count that as 20 miles or 40 miles? And so different people will handle that differently. So you can configure that as you want to. And so now when I hit try it out, it will, similar to the tax feature, I can see exactly how that calculates out. So in this case, it's within a mile of me, so it shows the 0 miles, and that's within my 50 miles of included, and so it's so no charge for that travel. And then lastly, if you want to, you can configure availability limits. So if, for instance, you can only do a single booking per day, we have a really easy way for you to do that sort of thing. So once you come over to the availabilities page, you'll find, if you wanted to set just a one booking per day limit, you can do that right there. Click save, and you would be all set. You can also, if you're a part-timer, you can set certain days and times that you're available. So maybe on Monday, you're only available after 5 p.m. or something. You can also configure how long before an event you want to accept bookings. So maybe you don't want to take a booking if it's tomorrow. Maybe you need at least a week or two to be able to handle that. You can do that. And then you can set them on, you can also set this on the package level. So the way I have it set up now, it probably wouldn't make sense. But if I remove that limit and say, hey, I can take, 2 weddings per day and 3 corporate events per day. Maybe I have different staff that's able to do a wedding but not a corporate, or vice versa. You can do that sort of thing. You can also set limits on your add-ons. So something like a scrap or a flash drive, you probably wouldn't have a limit on. But if you have like physical items that you're bringing to the location, like a lighting set or speakers or things like that,
TVs,
you can
right?
set a limit. Exactly. So you can set a limit there of how many will be allowed to be booked. And similarly with backdrops, if you've got, say, one of these red backdrops and 3 of these pink, black sequin ones, you can set that up too. So I'm not going to get into it too much, but we also have the concept of bundles where you can do things like double-sided backdrops, or if you've got equipment that falls into different packages and add-ons, you can set those up. So we've got a great video that kind of covers
maybe
that.
show them where the videos are right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple ways you can get to the videos. Again, under this getting started, we have a link to the videos, but you can always find those by clicking on your user account and going to support. And so, we've got ways to contact us. Typically, if you need to chat with us, feel free. Like, that's what we're here for. And then you can click the video library to get some more detailed walkthroughs. So if I want to see the full availability video, I can do that. We also have videos for things like contact forms, designs, a lot of different areas of Cherry. And if you don't see what you're looking for, if you're just you can't find the video, just let us know and we can send a link, or we can point you in the right direction. And so let's see here. We're at about 11:50. So let me just take a look at the website integration page. So under Manage and then Website Integration, this is where you're going to find the different links that you need to be able to add CheckCherry to your website. So if you want to have that Book Now button on your website, you can get that here. And a lot of the times, the website builder you're using is going to have buttons and things like that already. And so really all you're going to need is a link. So if that's all you're looking for, we can click that and copy this link to the clipboard and go paste this on our website editor. And if you need help with that, we can definitely point you in the right direction. You can also get links to specific packages. So say you have a wedding portion of your website and you want to link somebody to that. You can click the wedding package group here and get a link directly there. Similarly with corporate or your photo booth, things like that. You can also optionally add a sign-in link. Typically, people are going to have sign-in information on the different emails they receive, but it's not a bad idea to also add a sign-in link to your website somewhere. Then we have some different widgets that you can embed in your website. So probably the most useful one here is the contact forms. If you want to have a contact form where the let's preview that real quick here. So if you want to have just kind of a contact form with name, address, that type of thing, you can take this form and actually embed it on your website. And you can also edit this. If there's more information you want to collect, you can do that. So let's say we want to know their budget here too. We'll set that to optional. And we'll save here. And now I have that new question in my contact form. So those are great for collecting that information. And you'll just want to copy this HTML and paste it into your website. So and just as kind of a reminder, when somebody fills out that contact form, you'll get an email, of course, but then they're also going to show up under your lead database. So you'll have all that information, and you can take that and convert it to a proposal or to an event right from there. So it looks like we're at about 45 minutes now. So I want to leave some time for questions and anything that people want to know. So
if there's any questions out there, feel free to use the Q&A. We've had a couple come in. John asks, do I need my own tax jar account?
Good question. No, you don't. So we CheckCherry has a tax jar account that we use to calculate all this stuff. So there's no fee for that, no extra charge. Basically, all you need to do is enable it, and you're all set. And then at the end of the year, once you're ready for, if you need to know how to pay, how much you owe, we have a sales tax report you can use too. So under the reporting, you'll see this sales tax report, and you'll see a lot of other different reports too, but that one's helpful at the end of the year.
Okay. And Angie's saying, does CheckCherry show me who opened my proposal?
Yes, we do. So if I go to my proposals, down at the bottom of the preview, so let's go back to our proposal preview here. We have all this information here. And then at the very bottom, it'll show you who viewed it. And in this case, nobody's viewed it yet, but let's see if I can trigger that in a different window here. Great, yeah. So so basically, now that somebody has viewed it, click that or click that link. It'll show that the proposal was viewed, the time, the IP address, and then the approximate location. So it's helpful to you know, sometimes we've had stories where people can see the proposal bouncing its way up the corporate chain on its way to approval. So that's great to kind of keep track of it. Or conversely, if you don't see any activity, you know, maybe you need to pick up the phone and give them a call.
Well, and also maybe show them that I guess you don't have, do you have any messages where you can show that they opened and click the link as well?
Oh yeah, let's go over to the,
so we log that IP address, and this is an area we didn't talk much about, but CheckCherry does manage client communication. You can do automated messaging and this type of stuff. And we've got, again, some videos on it, a little bit more advanced. I mean, nothing terrible, but we'll automatically associate emails that are sent from CheckCherry with your bookings. And the really cool thing is you or the client don't have to log into CheckCherry to respond if a message started from CheckCherry.
Exactly. When you respond or when the customer responds, we're going to log that response, and then we'll forward it along to the right person. And then, of course, you can see the status of those messages. So in this case, it was delivered, but based on the address, it's probably not going to get read. Whereas these other ones that came to me, we can tell that I opened them. And if I were to click one of the links in there, then you could even see that it's clicked. So super helpful for just kind of seeing, like, you know, did somebody open my message? Do I need to follow up on that?
Okay, I have another question from Paul. It says, does CheckCherry allow me to assign staff? And so,
yeah. So once you, so if you go to manage and user accounts, we've got a few different types of users. So we've got our staff, our admins, and our customers. And so your admins are the ones like you that have full access to everything. You know, they can do pretty much everything. They can see your reports, you know, add new staff, add new users, things like that. Whereas staff is a little bit more limited. You know, depending on the settings, they'll have different permissions. But if I wanted to create a new staff member, you know, John Smith, we'll go ahead and assign him a password, and let's give him the staff role. And I also have the option whether I want to allow him what we call extended permissions. So with extended permissions, he can see the pricing on events, manage events, see other events, things like that. You can control whether you want the customers to see his contact information. And let's go ahead and create that user. And now on any of my events or proposals, yeah, this one, it looks like I've already assigned some staff. So let's go ahead and remove this person. And let's go back to the page so we can see what that looks like. So on a new event, you're going to see this bright yellow assign staff button. So we'll click that. We can select it here. We can start typing and it'll autocomplete. I can also give him a role. So if this is not a photo booth attendant, you know, maybe he's the you know, if it's a DJ event, you might call him that, or you know, whatever the case may be.
And I just want to just add something, which is, you know, we've gone through and kind of mentioned setting up a photo booth business, but CheckCherry is not just for photo booths. We are popular in the photo booth world. We love photo boothers. And a lot of people come to us when they're exposed to us through photo booth, but it's not uncommon for somebody to offer photography and photo booth, or DJ and photo booth, and manage it all within CheckCherry. We have people that do corporate headshots, photography, ice sculptures, all kinds of different stuff. And I guess if you offer packages and you sell your services and want to manage bookings, CheckCherry could be a fit. And so just chat with us anytime we can help you. We don't have a hard sale process over here at CheckCherry. We genuinely want to find customers who are a good fit for the platform. So no pressure at all. And another question, sorry, or go ahead.
Yeah, another question I think that comes up sometimes is can I have multiple services? So right now, we've set up this photo booth service. Can I have a DJ service? And the answer is yes. You can have as many different services as you want to offer. So you can add a DJ service, a headshot, anything else, and then you can have totally different packages under there. You can have different rules, or different different settings like like a backdrop doesn't make sense for a DJ event, but it does for a photo booth event. Or even things like whether you want to collect the venue name and address during the booking. And so you can customize those things pretty heavily to kind of customize to target the event type that you want to offer.
Okay, one more question here from John, and he's asking about exporting data effectively. So can I export my data? And so.
Yep, absolutely. So there are a few different ways you can get it, depending what you're looking for. I would say that probably the most useful reports, especially for kind of exporting data, are the event detail report and the payment history details. So let's take a look at the event details. So we've got a bunch of data here already. Name, status, when the date of the event, start time, things like that. And so I can just download this right from here. Excuse me. But if I need more information, I can also check these additional boxes and access about anything that I want. So, if I'm looking for tax rates and tips collected and things like that, I can enable all those different columns and download directly. Similarly, if I'm just looking for a certain date and time range, if I just want to see my confirmed events, for this year, I can do that type of thing too. So that's great for kind of accessing your, exporting that information. The payment history one, we probably don't have anything in there yet. Just kind of a filler, zero that we use to keep track of it. But this will have any deposits you've received, payments towards events, things like that. And that's useful for if you're doing any kind of accounting and you need to figure out like, oh, how much did I make last month or, last year or whatever, you can do that. You can pull it into Excel and start customizing. And similarly, you can add as many or as few columns as you want there too. So.
Well, that's it for questions. Matt, thank you so much. I think that went well. And again, I think just chat with us, if you do have questions while setting up your account. We've tried to make it as easy as possible. It does take some time. And at times, people are confused by different things. And so just use that chat feature. Let us know how we can help you. And welcome to CheckCherry, and thanks for watching. And I guess we'll sign off and send a recording out to everybody who registered and go from there. So
thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.